Depression in Adolescence, on the Rise in the United States by Bridget Rodriguez. In this presentation, I aim to define and give the symptoms of depression, share some statistics, possible contributing factors, who adolescents most at risk are, the importance of this issue in finding solutions, treatment options, who can contribute to solutions and how, and I will end with the conclusions I have drawn through my research. What is depression? It is considered a common mental health disorder and can be defined as a period of 2 weeks or longer during which there is either a depressed mood or loss of interest or pleasure, and at least 4 other symptoms that reflect a change in functioning. Some signs and symptoms: persistent sad or irritable mood, loss of interest in activities once enjoyed, substantial changes in appetite or body weight, oversleeping or difficulty sleeping, loss of energy, feelings of worthlessness or inappropriate guilt, difficulty concentrating, recurrent thoughts of death or suicide. 5 or more of these symptoms for over 2 weeks indicate major depression. Statistics. Rates are on the rise. In 2015, approximately 3 million adolescents had at least one major depressive episode in that last year. This is roughly 12.5% of the U.S. population from ages 12 to 17. In 2003, about 3.5% of this age population dealt with depression. It is important to note that this percentage has nearly tripled in the 12-year span between 2003 and 2015. This is a chart from the National Institute of Mental Health. Along with the overall percentage, it can be seen that 19.5% of females had at least one major depressive episode, whereas only 5.8% of males did. This is over 3 times the amount of more girls than boys dealing with depressive episodes. Adolescents between the ages of 15 and 17 have the highest percentages in the age group of 12 to 17 overall. 15.6% of adolescents dealing with major depressive episodes identify with 2 or more races, followed by 13.4% and 12.6% white and Hispanic adolescents respectively. Some possible contributing factors are age, race, and gender, and these can be indicated by the chart on the previous slide. Also, socioeconomic status, which can put a tremendous amount of stress on adolescents, and maternal depression, which can be seen as a predictor of youth depression, according to author Constance Ham. Stress can be a contributing factor in depression, as seen through many studies, though it should be noted that not all people dealing with stress suffer from depression. Socioeconomic struggles can cause major stress, as indicated in the last slide. Gender. Why is the percentage of girls having a major depressive episode over 3 times the amount of boys? Well, some possible reasons for this are that adolescent girls can have depressive episodes triggered by interpersonal stress, which can be interpersonal difficulties in peer, romantic, and familial relationships. They also can have a lack of peer and parent support. Hammond does not provide as much info on boys and interpersonal stress in her article. This is a chart shared by Constance Hammond, and it shows how depression and stress can be transferred from one generation to the next. When exposed to stress and depression early in life, this chart indicates that a likely path will be chronic and episodic stress and recurrent depression. Who is most at risk? Evidence for multiple studies classify at-risk adolescents into 3 categories. The first being adolescents that have a few of the symptoms but have not yet been officially diagnosed with major depression. adolescents with parents that have a history of depression, adolescents that have previously had depression. The importance of addressing and finding solutions. A drastic rise in percentage indicates a major problem. Untreated depression and mental illness can have dire consequences, including suicide. Depression often occurs throughout life for those that have it in childhood and adolescence. Treatment options. Adolescent depression needs more research because it has often been grouped together and treated similarly to adult depression. Cognitive behavioral therapy can be effective for mild cases of depression. It should be noted that on its own, cognitive behavioral therapy has not shown to be effective for treating moderate and severe cases of depression. Interpersonal psychotherapy can benefit more moderate and severe cases. Prescription drugs are an option. Some have been shown to be effective in the treatment of adolescent depression, but research on impacts of newer medicine on adolescents is limited and needs further research. Who can contribute to finding solutions? The answer is everyone, starting with parents, to government, to community, and society as a whole. How? An important change that can be made is to stop treating mental health as a taboo subject. Openly talking about depression can help everyone, especially adolescents who may be confused by how they're feeling already. By not downplaying all adolescent issues to them being stereotypically moody and sullen, we can help them and help identify some of the symptoms of depression rather than ignoring them. Healthcare for adolescents is important so that they can receive treatment if diagnosed. And increasing medical research on depression in adolescents will also help. My conclusion is that although depression is considered to be a common mental health issue, it should not be taken lightly. The percentage of adolescents having at least one major depressive episode has nearly tripled since 2003. At such a rate of increase, this issue is an important one to address. If solutions are not found, more adolescents will likely suffer from depression. The consequences of this can range from reoccurrence to deadly, with suicide rates in the adolescent age group between 12 and 17 also on the rise. I would like to end with a quote from Constance Hammond that is in line with my own conclusion. Research is also needed that targets those depressed youths at greatest risk for recurrent depression and that identifies effective treatments that promote enduring and successful interpersonal skills, as well as interventions that change the social environment to improve the course of depression and its intergenerational consequences.